So we're going to talk about golf equipment. You want to make your game better by I don't know, buying a game, or you want to talk about what can do. Also, we're going to talk something else next. Welcome back to What's in My Drawers Golf Talk. Why is it What's in My Drawers? Because old club makers and club fitters are tremendous pack rats, and I'm no different. It's about what's in my drawers in the golf shop. You know, I probably ought to do an episode where I'm going through one of those.
You should.
And so, what's it for? It's so that we can do golf club repairs, reviews, and fittings. All so your scores can go low. If you would, like, subscribe, hit that stuff across the bottom as you're seeing the banner scroll along there. See if you would do that. Thumbs up. It would be great. It gets more of this information out to the YouTube universe. All righty. So there's a couple of topics. Number one, you guys always ask me what's in the glass. We're going to talk a little bit about that because Mrs. McGolf and I went to Owensboro for barbecue and barrels. So that will be a topic. And we're also going to talk about getting some new gear and the fact that we fit a really nice guy's young man has been coming down here. He's newly married. We'll just call him Mark. And the dude can hit the ball an absolute mile.
Sound? John saying sound. Yeah, I hear him. I hear you.
Yeah. If you can't hear,
Matt said,
what?
yeah, Matt said sound.
All
You're fine.
right, I'm fine.
If I can hear it online, then we're fine.
All right. So if you guys can't hear any, let us know if you can't hear it again.
Charlie can hear it.
Okay. So turn up your volumes, fellas. So anyway, we're back to it. So a couple of things. Let's get into the golfing part of it first, since this is the McGolf channel. And so this weekend before leaving, we fit Mark. Mark was looking for a 3-wood. Now keep in mind, Mark hits the ball a country mile. He's the guy that we've talked about in the past with probably 115, 116 mile an hour swing speed. And you're just like, gee, many Christmas. What do you do with a guy like that? And because distance control and of course accuracy are going to be paramount because of when you hit it really far in that little bitty, you're only off this much here, but when you get out 300 yards, it's like that, or even 270, the distances gets wider. So control is very, very important. Now I fit Mark for irons, which he's still playing. I fit him for a driver, which I believe he's still playing. Told me he was. And I put him in the UB7S, I believe. Anyway, the thing's a brute. So if you're somebody that's struggling with hooking the ball and have a pretty, we'll call it an aggressive swing, look up Graphite Design in the UB range. And I'm here to tell you, you could probably, unless you're at 120 or better, you could probably use the Stiff Flex. Okay, and I did this work with him. He was 115 with a massively aggressive swing, and just didn't want to hook the ball. And I got him, and all he could do was push it, and that's a good thing because now you can adjust to where you stand or how you're going to swing. Because he is a low handicapper, he's about a 2, and all of a sudden he can hit fairways without having to worry about it careening into trees before it turns over. So that was always a good thing. So now we have to find a fairway wood. And when we do these kinds of things for guys that hit that far, the real question is why, right? Why do you need a fairway wood? Because, unless you're playing 7,200 yard courses, which aren't in abundance here in Ohio, 68 is probably as good as it gets. When you hit a 300 plus yard shot on the average, 3-woods just aren't coming into play unless you got some really tricked up golf course that's got a 600 yard shot, and then all of a sudden you may very well need it. But is it worth it for 2 times in a round, and you may never go back to that golf course? So that's the consideration for that leads us into the new golf equipment, and that's what this was for him. He got newly married. He is newly married. There you go. Newly married. And this was his treat for after getting married, because mommy said it was okay.
It was his birthday.
Okay. And so we took him in here, and knowing his tendencies, we had set up for it a little bit and had a couple X-Flex, the normal X-Flex shafts like the Denali Blue, the Denali Black, and let him hit. And it's kind of funny. We let him hit the Denali and the Triple Diamond 3-wood, and right out of the gate he absolutely plastered it, and that was awesome. Really, he liked the way it set. Of course, it has that shiny top on it, and he just wasn't quite catching it. Now, when we're talking about this, he was hitting it in the 140s, but I wanted him in the 145 and above. Well, we started looking at his paperwork and figured out he needed to be a little bit shorter, so I had him choke down a half of an inch. That's all that was needed. And a half inch, boom. And he was average. Now, this is off the deck, mind you. He was carrying 270 with the 3-wood, with his best shot getting out to 280, and then it rolled. He was spinning it just correctly, and it was getting about 5 to 7 yards of roll. That's pretty good for a 3-wood. So 270 to 277, 275, 282, which is the number. I asked him what number did he want to hit, and we hit it right out of the gate. And now the best part about this was he was able to bend the ball because he likes a right to left flight, but it wasn't excessive. Take it out 10 yards, bring it back around. That's massive for a 3-wood. And this was the Triple Diamond. So what I did is I took that same shaft, since it seemed to be working via the acceleration profiles, and I put the titanium in there. And the titanium looks different at address. He even said so. I had a 16.5 degree, kind of like a 4-wood, and I had it tricked down 1 degree, and I had him hit it, and he hit it further by 2 or 3 yards. But I think there is the weighting in it, because the Triple Diamond is more of a fade bias club, something for his setup, and the other one I think typically wants to close. It's what would be your standard Elite made out of titanium, and it wants to close a little bit on you. So what happened? So he was a hair longer, and his pattern was just a hair tighter, but on the titanium model, he was much more left, and that's what we were trying to eliminate, right? And to about 20 yards left, where for 2 yards shorter, he was landing in the middle of the fairway, and albeit when he missed it, it actually pushed a little bit, and he got out there. So it was a hands down no brainer that he was going to get the Triple Diamond. And we had that one there. So, and we had the grip that he likes, so we were able to set him up, and he was able to take it back. So it was an after wedding and birthday gift for him. And that's what kind of led me into the topic of the weekend is what are you guys looking for? This is not for me. I got a bag that is got some nice apexes in it. I kept the wedges, although I'm a fan of the new Opus. I really do like it, but the J grinds I got, that was the last thing they released out of there, work for me. So they're not leaving anytime soon. I do really like that, and I still have I now have the Elite driver that I put on a driver shaft. We're still playing with that a little bit, and then I've got Paradigm hybrids, and that's only because I really haven't had a chance to work over the other ones. However, I have fallen onto the bandwagon. I didn't jump off of it. I fell onto it. I jumped onto the bandwagon, and I ordered a mini driver. Now, the reason being is I don't tee. Number one, I'm mental, okay? But number two is I don't really tee the ball up very high because of the way I release the club, and I like the length of this particular club. So basically, everything that, I'm trying to fit myself in my brain, and I'm like, well, you like a shorter club, you like teeing it down. The bigger head doesn't bother me, nor does a smaller one. So we're going to give this thing a ride and see what happens, and then I'll give you guys a report on that. and train. And last but not least, I hit about 20 golf balls before leaving on this trip, and I think my swing returned. So we're going to have to do some testing now that I've done my yeah, I got this right. And in order to do some of the testing, because it just wouldn't have been fair to tell you that, Grandpa hit it 100 yards. It just doesn't work like that. So we got it back, I think, with some help.
Plus, I sold one today.
Oh yeah, we did sell a mini driver today. Mm-hmm. Somebody just came in and decided they want a mini driver. So this might become a thing. You just never know about such things. All right. So again, when we go through this, when I get done with this, I want to hear about what you guys are looking for, and maybe we can talk through it and see what's the pros and the cons of it. It's kind of a across the board thing. Okay. So here we go. The weekend. This is like, what can I say it? Pars and pours. Okay, she's done. This is the segment we're going to call this Pars and Pours segment, and so this weekend Owensboro hosts a barbecue and barrels festival right there. Now, Owensboro, Kentucky is known for a couple of things. This used to be called the International Barbecue Festival, where teams from literally around the world would come and compete for barbecue awards. Of course, all the stories are about the same. COVID hits, it makes it unhappy, and they've changed it to barbecue and barrels. Barrels including this. Why? Because of these guys right here. All right, this is Green River. Green River Distilling has made a name for themselves in a affordable bourbons, rye, whiskeys, that kind of stuff. And they are now owned by Bardstown Bourbon Company. So we can see even more good things coming from them. They had a bottle that was special, single barrel for the event, which I picked up and I have not opened, so I won't tell you anything about that. But staying online with the barbecue, this is one of the first places. So I'm going to go back. This is what it looks like. It's literally about 10 city blocks long, right? It looks a lot like that. And just people, it's not jam-packed, but we are kind of in the off time. But I'm here to tell you, it filled up, all right? Particularly at night when they had a free concert of which Clay Walker headlined. And if you guys don't know Clay Walker, he is a super-duper guy. Actually, we actually fit him. And just a super nice guy, more of a traditional country western singing. Anyway, so back to it. We stopped at this one, Juicy Butt Barbecue. You can't go wrong with a name like that, right? I'm here to tell you, dude, the dude made a mean brisket, super mean. It was very, very good. The potato salad we had, out of sight well. So if you see them out in the round, if you guys visit those types of places, please take a look at them.
Thank you for not pointing out that was my fault.
And we just told everybody, so there you go. Yeah, they did. Anyway, so the best part of it is we got some VIP passes for the bourbon tasting. However, what we did is there was a class before where we can talk about the bourbons. And what we did is we had choice between Buffalo Trace, Four Roses, Green River, and there was one more. Anyway, we chose Four Roses, and Bill was the master blender that got to explain to us all things Four Roses. And we got to taste the single barrel products, which are my absolute favorite. Now he gave me a card so I can break the code for those of you guys that like Four Roses, where they have the O, S, and there's other letters in this, right? There to 4 letters that talk about where it comes from, the yeast strains they use, and that kind of stuff. And I've got a card, so I know what I'm looking for now. Anyway, that was phenomenal. We got in an hour early, and I'm just going to show you a few pictures. But needless to say, Charlie, I know you're on here. If you look up Larrikin, Larrikin, 2 Navy folks. One's an Australian that joined the U.S. Navy. And the other one is a lady. She just became the newly frocked officer working in Washington, D.C. Some of the nicest people you ever want to meet, and they are making some very fine bourbon. I got a single barrel from them. All right, just a couple and there was 40 vendors there. Every one of them letting you taste bourbon. No, I did not go to them all. I thought about it, but I wanted to walk back out.
But I usually do.
Yep, and I had Robin there as my designated walker. And anyway, so needless to say, I just want to say it went very, very well. Got to meet some people and some things that changed my mind. And there was quite a few. Of course, I knew about Larrikin. I knew about a bunch of them, and I didn't put them all on here, but I'm going to give some honorable mention to a couple. And this one was the first one. This is true story. This family is the family that, if you see the guy in the background with the glasses, that's the fellow that started Angels Envy. Now, I am not a fan of Angels Envy. I'll be the first to say that. But and I'm not. I don't know if I'm a fan of the black and the white bottles, but that's what they picked. Okay, and I thought, man, I had visions of it tasting like just newer Angels Envy. It's nowhere close. All right, very, very tasty. I'd say it's, it's worth. Is it going to rush out and I'm going to buy a case? No, but to have a bottle on hand for sure. All right, another one. You can't look at this guy. His name's Trey's from Blue Run. Blue Run Spirits. They had 4 spirits and to talk about, and each one had a different profile. And as we went, we were bouncing flavor profiles off each other, and it was really cool how we kind of felt the same way about some of these things. And so he said he's going to send me a bottle. We'll see how that works out. And when it shows up, it'll be there. It was surprisingly good. Another one, I'll give 2 shout outs. Number one, if you guys are from the Kentucky region or even or down just shy of Tennessee, it's called Coal Pick whiskey. And from a miner's pick, because it was coal country down the neck of the area. And he's making a wheated whiskey that was surprisingly good. And then the last one would have been the Limestone Branch. We tend to like those guys. I met the guy that does most of their barrel picks, although he's a little off, about a half a bubble off. But he can pick some whiskey, and it was very, very tasty there. And last but not least, since we are a golf channel, we're going to give a shout out to Augusta Distillery, because you guys know I like them. Who doesn't, as a golfer, who doesn't like the word Augusta? But I was able to contract my very, very first hazmat bottle, and we'll thank Matt and Ryan and Miss Alex for all that. So there's that one. So the next day, oh, yeah, I should. And we might do something. Bullet, this is another one. Here's where golf and the industry mix up together. We're talking to a Bullet guy. Turns out one of the representatives was just what they call him, an ambassador, and he is actually an accountant for the PGA. Go figure, right? And so we were talking. They had Titleist Pro Vs sitting there for taking, and they had the Bullet logo on there. So I got a 1, I got a 2, and I got a 3 logo on there. So maybe we'll give those bad boys away. All righty. So now the next one, this takes off topic, then we'll get right into the discussions. And this one's important to me. Now, you guys, if you guys have been watching any kind of news about devastation, and this is from my other job, from emergency responses, that Kentucky experienced some, what I would say, catastrophic flooding. All right, whether it had to deal with whiskey or not, this thing killed some folks, and you just have no idea the immensity of what they experienced until you go down there and you look at it. And I'm gonna kind of work backwards on this one. So, but we all know Buffalo Trace, right? Buffalo Trace, one of the largest producers owned by Sazerac. They're one of the biggest producers out there, and of course they're huge, and they're able to enlist the aid of huge companies to come help them recover. And we took the E.H. Taylor tour. And the reason why that's important is because this is where they document their flooding. So if you look at this particular picture, and you can't see the numbers from here, but if you look, what was used as a measurement were these windows. All right. And the worst flooding to date before 2025 was literally at the top of the second window. So right where you would see the railing or the wood that's going across, or the arches that were going across the tops of the windows, that's where the water made it in 1978. Okay. In 2025, it was literally butting up against the underneath side of the rafters. Okay, if you look at where the rafters are being held up by the cement posts, it was literally touching the things that the cement posts or the steel posts were holding up. That is humongous. Okay, now the thing that really drives it home is there's a platform you can go outside, and you're virtually 10 to 15 foot above the water line, and then where that reached was another 10 to 15 foot above our heads, and we are literally, as the creek was at normal capacity, or the river's at normal capacity, we are easily 30 to 40 yards from that. So you got to keep that in mind. So this thing went over 40 yards, both sides, and went up easily 30 to 40 foot in the air. That's a truckload of water. And to recover from that is a massive, massive effort. All right. And these guys are still recovering from it. There was air movers and everything like that to keep the moisture out of a lot of the rick houses. So I just wanted to show you that one. I hate to be here's the more of that. And I call this the Pompeii. This is a dig that they discovered trying to renovate, and they figured out that the first generation hid all this and they uncovered it. So that was kind of cool. Just the idea of this whole area. And they're actually using part of one of the tanks in there to make some product. All right, so the last one of this one I want to talk about, and this is what we got in the glass today, Glenn's Creek. Okay, Glenn's Creek, i.e. known as the Old Crow. If you guys know anything about this, Old Crow is an ancient brand, mid to late 1800s into the 1900s, and then Prohibition, I think, destroyed it. So anyway, very first statement, Dave told me, and Dave's the owner, that I have to say this, otherwise he wouldn't let me take a video. that the property, they have a lot of vandals because everybody thinks that this whole thing is shut down, and it's not. It is not shut down. It is private property. That's the reason why there's fences around it. So if you think you're going to go spelunking in a freaking old building, don't, because it's not shut down. Don't go there. You're welcome, Dave, and thank you.
And it's not abandoned.
And it's not abandoned. And we're going to show you that. We're going to show you that. So this one's going to take a few, but we're going to go through them very, very quickly. And what he does, he takes us on the tour of the Old Crow facility, and we don't even see what he's doing. So it's a historical tour. And if you guys like the historical aspect of it, this is what it looks like. Those are wreck houses that are bottled and bond era. And what he said was that these were made when the standard barrels were at 46 gallons, not 53. You can't see them, but there's bars on them, and that was installed to prevent anybody from ripping it off. I don't know who's going to go up 4 or 5 stories and try and get it, but that's just what it is. I'm just going to show you the immensity of Old Crow. This guy, Old Crow, back in the day, now we're talking late 1800s, is going through 200,000 pounds of grain a day. So, and right now, this is a micro brewery or a micro still now, and they're only going through like 1,000. All right, this is one of where you go through what would be I would call it a maintenance / delivery, because where you see stuff sticking out, that was the main building. All right, this is where some scrappers had gotten in there, and you see the stuff hanging down, and then you see the metal posts that have been put in there to keep the supports along. Neat little room. Here's the main building, and if you look all the way at the top, it talks about Old Crow, and it's like 1820 or 1806. That was when it was formed, but not when that building was made. This was their main housing structure. This was a little office area off to the side. I'm guessing that this had something to do with Bottled and Bond, or maybe the last foreman in the day. And this is going back into their boiler room. And I thought this was just a phenomenal picture. This is one of 3 boilers. And if anybody knows anything about steam plants, it's massive, and there's 3 of them. And this is the latest one that was made in the 60s or 70s. The rest of them were much earlier, and it was crazy. And this is what the flooding did. This covered this entire area up. Okay. And then up here, if you look, the flooding here, you see this, what looks to be a trough or a pipe. The flooding literally got above that. and because they're down on the bottoms. All right, this is more of the manufactured area, and what this was, it looks like, well, what is all the siding off for? That's because the siding in the day was made with metal, and it was easy to blow off in case there was an explosion, and the scrappers got a hold of that. All right, some fermenter tanks. Again, the back side of the main building, and you can see now where the stacks for the boilers are at, and the kind of a delivery area, and then back to the side view of that. Okay, so we had that. So why am I saying that? It's because every small business, and this guy is literally a very small business. I think he may have 6 or 8 people tops, and he's recovering at a very slow pace, but he's recovering nevertheless. So anytime we buy something like that, it goes to the cause or book a tour or anything like that. But if you go there, he doesn't ship out because he's not big enough to do it. But if you guys get a chance and you're in the Frankfurt area, I would look them up and give them a little bit of support. No, I did not. So this is called Stave and Barrel. The thing that's special about this is a hand filtered bottle. Oh yeah. So I got a picture here for you. Robin took it. I don't have it in my collection yet, but he is. This dude's very civic minded. I will say that. And if you look, I don't know if we're going to get it or not. Let's see. Got too much white light. Too much white light. But if you see all the outlines, all those outlines are policemen's patches, and from different people that have come to visit. So he's very civic minded. They really he treats them good. They treat him good. Anyway, this was a hand filtered, and what's the difference is they leave the last 5 gallons in the barrel and let it set and let the chunkies. In fact, there's always a little bit of chunk in here somewhere. Anyway, it's a little bit more oily, a little bit more flavor than the rest of the barrel, and they sell it off as something different. And I had him put McGolf and cheers with him signing it. So more pars and pours. How about that? So there it is. So you get a lot of char off of it, kind of a darker caramel, oily in its taste. I would say very excellent mid palate, and a finish on it that is expected of what a good bourbon would be like. Now, he did win an award with an OCD. The dude has got a sense of humor like no other. And some of these, the names of these things are absolutely creative. All right. So kind of, I'll give you an idea is that one of them, he has recreated the Old Crow recipe, and the people that own Old Crow came after him. So he had to change his label. And so instead of calling it Old Crow, he's now calling it Flippin' the Bird. Flippin' the Bird. All right. The other one that I'm going to give you is this one's called Hamilton Dark. And Hamilton Dark isn't necessarily dark. And what it is, this is what they call a specialty drink or a specialty whiskey, in that it's his bourbon, like an OCD bourbon. That was the one he won the award with, and his tequila. He's got a Kentucky tequila, and it's called Cantelia. It's a Kentucky and tequila together and mixed up, and he calls it Hamilton Dark. And there's a story behind that. And this one, you can get the tequila on it. It's very, very light. And it drinks just like it drinks just like it noses. It's not very burny because the rum will tone it down somewhat. You get a lot of the barrel char on that one. People will talk about barrel char. Not a lot in the way of colors. It reminds me more of the rum side than it does the bourbon side. All right. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that part. Let me know. And here we go. Let's get started. Matt Revlock, no rounds because he's in Michigan. The other side of it. When testing equipment, is important to have those clubs match your specification, angles, and length. Cheers. Well, the absolute truth is, if you got fit for it, why would you not want it, right? In a lot of cases, and we'll go right back to it, in my opinion, length is equal to consistency. Okay, across the board, putters, wedges, irons, hybrids, drivers, all the way across, consistency, and it can make the difference between high and low smash factors. And once you get a really high smash factor, that means you're fine in the middle of the golf club. And a lot of times that can be contributed to the length. And if you guys seen Matt next to me, he's sitting in a low chair and he's up here like that. And I'm 6 foot tall. All right. The dude's huge. He's just super tall. And so that's what, and so his specification for his golf clubs and length are going to be way, way different than mine. And if he tried to hit mine or I tried to hit his, neither one of them would be very good. And that's the reason why length is so important. All right. It allows you to get through the turf. It allows you to make good center contact, allows you to be able to make a good centered or a good golf swing. As a matter of fact, that athletic posture is super important. All right. Lie angles. Lie angles are important, as we talked, I think we talked about this last week, but as the loft tends to get more, the lie angle becomes more important because the changes in lie angle can change your direction pretty rapidly, right? So something that like you can get away with it with it's funny, you would say, well, that means the lie angle on the putter is the least important. And in a lot of cases, the answer to that is yes. However, putter's different because it's not a full swing club. It is a partial swing club, we'll call it, and it's way more controlled, and you need more alignment help on that than most anything else. So it becomes important so that you can sole the club such that you can see where the alignment's going so that you can see the putt and get moving that way. Now you go to the full swing, the next lowest one is literally the driver. Is it very, very important in the driver? Well, by theory, the answer is no. Okay. Now it's funny that we would get asked that. Okay, cool. I got my wooden one here. This will work. So if you get a driver and it's too long and you're sitting there and you're looking at it like this. So now you're looking at it, you see the whole entire top instead of something along that lines. And you go, wow, look at that. I can see the whole thing. And everything's going to the right. Well, that's because you're setting it up like this. And in a lot of cases, what's going to happen is this is going to go along. Very rarely do you see somebody with the toe way, way up in the air get after it unless it's super flexible and it starts coming back down. So does that mean that every toe in the air for a driver is bad? No, not at all. Let's say this is normal. I've seen guys hit drivers like that and absolutely demolish the ball. All right, there's just that. And then you see guys that swing that will start like that, and they stand up and the toe goes like this. But their hands are so quick that it evens out the playing field. But you can get away with it on these. You do that with a wedge, so nope, it's not going to be a good hit. It's going to dig. It's going to go in directions you don't want it to go, and where distance control is at a premium, where this is bash it and get it, bomb and gouge. This is what this is all about. So there's your lie angle thing. Thanks, Matt. I don't know anything about Newton shafts, PZ. I wish I did. And with your reminder, I probably ought to email them again because they do owe me 1 or 2 shafts. At least that's what they said they would do. I see it getting a truckload of attention on the senior tour. I have no idea what that means. What that probably means is it's good for somebody that's got an average swing speed like a really good amateur that has a fairly decent release. All right. But they have their dots or their stars or whatever that is in order to control that. And I'm going to assume that as you get more dots and more stars, that it becomes a little stiffer in profile. And that's how it would work. I get a lot of people asking me, and I can't comment only because all I see is their video of the drone flying over the town, and that's all I got. Manual, whoa, Jim Robin and all. I am led to believe that wear marks on graphite shafts due to going in and out of the bag and bouncing around actually damage fibers and weaken the shafts. True or false? The answer, in my opinion, would be I don't know about necessarily weakening the fibers, but it weakens the shaft. So, and most of that, with the going in and out, the going in and out, maybe not so much as it bouncing around. And it's basically going like this in the bag, and it's basically getting sanded, right? And what you're doing is you're sanding the paint off, and then and when the paint disappears, have you destroyed the integrity? Not necessarily, but I've seen them where they're actually concaved a little bit, and then yeah, you are, because you've taken away some of the material that golf shaft relies on in order to do what it's supposed to. Now, could you play it until it breaks? Sure, why not? Would it bother if you found it and it bothered and you got in your head? Would you replace it then? Absolutely, I'd do that too. I've noticed some severe cases of bag wear in the past, and I told them, hey, the golf club failure is imminent. It is absolutely imminent. It is coming. You're going to have it. So it's just a matter of time. And so you just let the golfer make the decision at that particular point. But if you wanted to get super nerdy and get down into the macro or the micro of it under a microscope, is it damaging it? From a very, very literal point of the term, the answer is yes. But from a construction, making it, is the shaft not working like it's supposed to? Not just yet. But the bottom line is failure is imminent. Okay. Consider new clubs this year, maybe. Well, okay. What kind of new clubs, Phil? Where are we going to go with this one? Let us know. My only gear change would be going from Vokeys to Opus. Not real happy with the bounce and grind options of the Opus. They seem to be limited, don't they? They really do seem to be limited. What I'm finding right now is we've been going through quite a few Opus. I will say that. The two favorites right now is kind of silly, is the standard and the wide. And
You mean W?
yes, standard and wide, S and W. That's how it works.
Wide. I'm sorry. I thought you said Y.
No.
Y is an S. T, W.
No. See, and who needs a hearing aid now?
We both do.
You do.
W.
So anyway, standard and wide.
There you go.
Okay, and the reason being the wide I like so much is because it's not very wide at the bottom. It's actually just slightly larger than the standard, but it has a higher bounce number. It goes from like a 10 or a 12, and the other one to a 14. I'm here to tell you, man, people get through it in a heartbeat. It's not bad, and it's not squared off, so you can't open it up at all. It does have some heel and toe relief, so you can. Are you going to be able to flop it? I would say probably not, but you could get it open substantially so that you could, get a good pop-up out of it. Now, from there, if I don't, around here, low bounce option, and people needing low bounce options really aren't a thing. And so was it the C grind, I believe, is the low bounce option. It's neat, but it's really didn't come across. Now that Z grind, or that one that comes with the tungsten across the top, I really like the way that looks. It's like a tri-cut. I've seen that on other wedges in the past. I like it's very versatile. And if you're a person that really wanted to control ball flight, that's where I would go with it. But I think it's just heavy, right? And it just comes across as heavy. I give it to people. And if you're a smoother or a guy that just, those guys, the death of the wedge swing where it slows down, they will absolutely not like that one. But the two is, surprisingly enough, the standard and the wide. John Cherry, hello there, buddy. John's in Myrtle Beach. John needs a new golf bag this year. Well, I tell you what, I am well versed in one kind. Man, I got itchies. Well versed in Sun Mountain. And I will say that I think they're a very top-notch company. I think they offer enough models. Even if you wanted to go do a Sunday bag kind of option, they have that. If you want a leather option, they've got that. I'm not a fan, but we've sold one. But they're if you're going to put it on a golf cart to push or a golf cart to ride, they've got several options, and they are well made, and they do treat you very, very well if you run into an option. I have had guys we've been doing this here for, many Christmas, 18 years. And every time we've had an option or had a problem.
With some mountain?
Yeah.
Since 2004?
Oh, 20 years then. And, but like say, the guys with walking bags with the legs, that one of the legs the screw will come out. It's not broken. The screw just comes out. And they send me an entire assembly. Well, I'm like, how am I going to take this thing apart? And so literally I take the screw out and I put it in the other one, and I hand the guy the assembly. I said, well, if you need more parts, here you go. And they just like, really? I'm like, oh yeah, it got springs on there. I mean, you're good for life. And the golf bags last a lifetime. Well, not a lifetime, but they last a long time. I had one that I used for several years. The only reason why I replaced it was because I kept putting it in and out of my truck, and it had that coating in it, and it was extraordinarily rough. So it was just like putting it on sandpaper. And I literally weared through one of the reinforced boundaries on it. I said, okay, it's time to go. And so we did that. All righty. Already changed from Titleist to Vokey in March. Not sure about the wedges. Maybe get rid of the A13 Smoke and Elite Mini. Hey, buddy, we're on the same page, dude.
Trade-in bonus right now.
Oh, and for all you guys that are, Mr. McGolf, the sales team says that till the end of the month,
May 26th.
Till May 26th, Callaway is offering like a trade up, trade in kind of thing, where it's a bonus where you can. They're giving you 10% off. No, what?
Not on the woods. Remember,
I didn't say woods, did I?
I know, but
I was getting ready to say irons.
Okay, gotcha.
So anyway, on the Elite Iron package, or even on the Apex Iron package, you can get 10% off. Okay, 10% off. Now, on the whole entirety of the Callaway's program, the woods now that are included, or that stuff, they give you an extra percentage on your trade-in. Is it 50%?
It's 50%. So if your driver's over 100, you would get 150.
There you go. So as Mr. McGolf just said, if your driver is worth 100 trade-in, you get 150. So basically 150% trade-in value from what they've determined. So if you're looking, this might very well be the time.
Go on CallawayGolf.com.
Yep. I meant the Myrtle Beach. I went to the Myrtle Beach Classic on Friday, followed Blades Brown, the 17-year-old amazing golfer. He definitely makes his mark in the future. Well, good. Hopefully he's got that golfer's temperament. I was watching him he hit some crazy hook shot while he was on YouTube, and it was funny. He just pulled it off like, yeah, I meant to do that. There's Rob wanting to know how Michigan was. Robin talking. That is not unusual.
Pretty nice.
All right, Matt says, John, Blades Brown is one of those next crop tour players. He decided to turn pro. I hope he finds his bitch and stays on that tour. Fun to watch. There you go. It was fun outside. We lost both games. Good experience for Drew and the rest of the fellas. Well, as long as you don't get too down in the dumps. John C., we can drop ship mountain to you. There you go. You probably get a bonus being working at the golf course, but you just never know how it works out.
Yeah, just put it out there.
Yep. Charlie wants to know how Michigan went. You traveled, don't you? Yeah. Here's Charlie saying hello. There's Jesse saying hello. John, I keep that in mind. That was a polite thank you, but no.
You don't know that.
Oh, yeah, I do.
I told him.
Yes, Charlie, too much travel. He's been around, bud. Charlie, he's been chasing those kids around, and it's like any kind of travel ball. You could go anywhere in the U.S. You just got to be prepared to go. The more I get into that dark Hamilton, the better it gets. I think that thing with a with just a small ice cube in it would be really, really good.
Come on, spit it.
You need to speed up. We're not even an hour into it yet.
Yet. You're supposed to be an hour.
Well, we're not even close.
I know.
Matt, you didn't take your clubs with you. Bet you saw some courses you might like to play there. You know, Michigan's got some really nice courses. They got that, was it Kohler? Wolf, where they got a couple of high-level tournaments that they play there. It's right along the Michigan line. There we go. Matt says, I walked the Oakland University course in Auburn Hills. Oh, Auburn Hills, Michigan, but did not get to play it. Auburn Hills. I wonder if that's the place where that might be it. Auburn Hills is they have the place for the Auburn car. That was I've seen Auburn's. Man, they're super nice. I think that's where they made it. We got the sound thing figured out. Audio's fine. Thank you. Had to leave and come back in. Prospector Pete says, hi, Jim and Robin. He says, what? Probably asking about the shaft. Hello, Jim and Robin, all golf nuts and from West Virginia. Played last week. There's Krister. We're waiting on some details, man. How'd all that testing go? I did a deep dive and I'm learning about golf shaft things I didn't know. For example, not all golf shafts have the same balance point, and this influences club head feel. You're 100% correct. The only thing that's standard about golf shafts is none of them are standard. That is the only thing. And balance, but now keep in mind, Charlie, balance points may not move more than this far apart, right? The transition, even between companies, probably won't be more than 1.5 inches. However, that 1.5 inches can be a huge, huge deal. I'll give you, for instance, when Diamana and Mitsubishi brought out Diamana, the Diamana Blue Board was the original was a big hit. Oh, it was a great shaft. Well made. Everybody liked it. It's quite pricey. They didn't care. And they hit the crud out of it. Aldila came out with the NVS. And remember that copper-colored shaft? The copper-colored shaft in every aspect matched the Diamana Blue Board stroke for stroke, except for the bend point. And the bend point on the shaft was different. I believe it was a little bit lower. I think it was a little bit lower, and it changed the total feel of that golf club. And we tried to make comparisons, but they just didn't act the same. They just didn't work the same. So it can be a big deal. Yep, we're going to listen to him. He's going to tell us what he did. Are we saying hi? Played Friday in tough wind. All right. Wind is an equalizer as long as the other guy doesn't know how to play in it either. Prospector, hey, what do you think about older demo sets? I have a similar body and similar swing as you. Would you think that they're a pretty good fit? The only thing with older demo sets, Pete, is that there is zero quality control in those things. All right. And so if you have a club maker nearby, if you that can adjust lofts and lies for you, then yeah, that's not a bad thing. But I can't, the number of times, and it's across the board, there's, Ping, Titleist, count all of them. What they're doing is when they say they need a demo set, they're just picking parts, whatever left over, and they're putting it in a bag and out you go. Now, one would think if you're hitting a demo set that you would have a regular setup. I cannot tell you how many times that I've had all the same lie angles or loft angles that were very similar and have to bend them back out. Now, does it make that particular iron bad? No, it just means that demo set was bad. And so you have to, but if you get a good deal and you like it, then give it a shot. And if you find yourself, man, I'm hitting my 7, my 8 just almost exactly the same, then that's problematic, and you want it checked and have it fixed, because chances are it's probably a lie angle or a loft angle thing. Mr. McGolf says, "Hey everybody, hit that button, hit that thumbs up. Don't feel bad. My rounds were nothing right at home about 84 and 82. Those are still respectable in my opinion." There's Mr. Three Putt from Texas. Must have gear, cigars, 7-wood, and music. There you go. Although I'm not a smoker, I can do a 7-wood pretty decent. And I don't mind music so much as long as I don't hear it from across the fairway. You keep it in there, you keep it in the surrounding area of your cart, and I think that's pretty good. You always need permission of the wife to get down to Waverly with some of those new toys. That's a fact. Uh-oh, we got discussions happening. Sally says hi. I'm sure she's saying hi right back a little bit further down. Charles Bartholomew, no new clubs this week, but finally decided on what driver to game this season. It is the LS8 QI35, or is it Q135? I think it's QI35 with the 50 gram, what? 5G70X. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I pretty much picked the shaft. I was wondering where you're going to go with this one. Good for you, man. I always wanted to hear about that hybrid that you're playing around with to see how it tested. Uh-oh, here we go. Chris Greenslade, hello from the sunny west of England. Hi, Kent up in the frozen north, and big hello to my new friends from around the world. Well, hello, Chris. Thank you for joining. Master McGolf, how do I cleanly add head weight to a brass Chicopee? Are you talking a chipper? If you can remove the shaft, and that's the tough one. Is the Chicopee wooden shafted or not? If it's wooden shafted, you're stuck because you can't drill into it and add weights into it. If the Chicopee is a chipper and has a steel shaft, I'd heat up the brass and take the shaft out and put some weight on the inside of it. As far as cleanliness goes, if those aren't options, you're down to lead tape. Now you could always, a couple of things with lead tape. Lead tape is not just cut a piece off and just stuff it on the back end. Lead tape, you can get very, very creative with, like place relief cuts in it so you can go into a flat and be off onto the sides. And what I would do is make it so that it goes the length of the club so it looks like it's actually part of the club. And then what you do is as the club curves towards the face, what you want to do is you take an X-Acto knife or some very sharp knife and just trim it off. And the trick of the trade here is I use a wooden handled whatever, right? I've got a wooden handled knife that's boxed, but you can use one that's rounded and rub it so that you rub all the crinkles and all that kind of stuff off, and so that it wants to adhere in order to get in there, and it makes it nice and smooth. Now you could also, if you really want to go the next step, find you one of those Sharpies and kind of paint it in. That probably look a little cheesy. I think the other way, if you're making it look there, you're good. You're in good shape. Chris, I have the black smoke in my driver, but nowhere near the stoutness of yours. Yeah, he's at the very top of that picking order right there. Chris saying hi, Chris. Everybody's telling Chris, welcome, Chris. Welcome, Chris. Mini driver craze. I don't know. Yeah. My driver right now is pathetic, and I think it's all in my head. And I know it's all in my head. I know I can hit it better. I have hit it better. It's a timing thing, and I just need to get back to it. I have a mini driver. It's a 3-wood. Yuck. Well, my mini driver is my two hybrid. I like to say I play a mini L driver, but They're all a bit heavy. Okay. Golf Addict. Hello, Jim and Robin. Hope things are well. I hope and everybody's. Gee, Merry Christmas, Jim. Hi, everyone. Hope all is well also. And cheers. How's all that TaylorMade stuff working out for you? Did you get a chance to get out? Oh, we're getting ready to see it. I see it here. Had a great week of golf. 74. Wahoo! Now that's starting this week. I will be breaking in a new putter. How many rounds on average should it take to get dialed in? Well, if you're shooting set mid-70s all the way around, if you take more than a round, I'd be shocked. That's some skill, man. Well done. See, there's another thing, getting dialed in, right? And if you're gotten fit and you know your specs and you get it, there should be very little time of that. It's a matter of getting the feel to what distance means in order to get down into that, and that's just practicing. Get into a couple of, go to the putting green before you get started, do some putting drills for distance, and then get creative for it. Get creative when it gets time to make some putts. Ooh, I bet that bad boy looks good in the bag. It should be played for 10% of your normal amount of rounds. That would give you a good chance. There's Matt. Yep. Yes, it was. And for vendor type food, normally you get it and it's just like it tastes day old, right? Because it's been sitting there waiting. And we were there, about midday on Friday?
It was about 6 o'clock.
In the afternoon?
Yeah, we got there at 5.
Oh, well, this was afternoon time frame. Oh, well, now here's another classic part of this. So this is the downtown area. We've got this big styrofoam box of barbecue, and we walk up there, and there's this bar, and it's got a flight of all the Taylors that you can get, and it's $25, and there was a Buffalo Trace representative in the bar. So we got a glass of lemonade, we got our thing of barbecue. And this guy stops us and says, "Where's your green cup?"
No, first asked, "What are you drinking?"
He says, "Where's your green cup?" And they said, "Why do I need a green cup?" He says, "Well, what are you drinking?" I said, "Lemonade." And he says, "Well, you need a green cup to be able to walk around and drink." "Well, I'm drinking lemonade. Why do I need a green cup for lemonade?" He says, "Well, you need a green cup to come in here." And I'm like, "Well, okay." So he goes in and talks he says, "Let me go get you a green cup." And super nice guy. And and next thing you know, he's waving us in. He says, "The boss says it's okay to come on in." I said, "It's okay to eat in here too?" And he says, "Oh yeah, no problem." So we sit down at the table and we're sharing our styrofoam box of barbecue. And she's drinking Elvis Presley shots, which were half peanut butter whiskey and half banana liqueur.
Yum.
And I was doing the Taylors. And we were going through our barbecue, and we had some pulled pork, which was surprisingly also very moist and stayed warm in this container. And once we got done with that, then as a treat, they had a Pappy 15, and I took a pour of that.
No, it's the treat.
Well, the pork was delicious. It was good. They had some barbecue sauce that was really good too. Oh. Krister says, "Had some time last week to test the mini driver. It delivered good results. Got 278 with an average of a 3. Oh my goodness gracious. Doesn't that beat your regular driver? I thought these look like very familiar numbers." I'll take the whiskey. You can keep the balls. No doubt. The Bullet, we tasted the Bullet, and Bullet is now making some of their own stuff now. They used to contract it, and what you're going to start seeing going forward is more of their stuff. So that's cool. Look at that. I got a plus. I got a thumbs up from the wife on my brisket.
Of course.
Played 18 from the red ladies tees with irons only as wedges of putter. I know what to focus on, the short game around the greens. That's actually more people should do that, Krister. To be honest with you, more people should do it. And if truth be told, even if you went back to the white tees and people played anything but their driver, they would literally score lower. It's happened. Hope everyone is faring well these days from John Lamb. Getting out with the sticks often. Played 9 yesterday with the misses. Nice. She was 4 over and I was 3. You guys got games going, man. I think I lipped out on every hole. Well, that's for getting started, man. That's not bad. We'll give you a pass for this week. Well, actually, right. I'm sure that Jim and I could talk for hours telling sea stories. Oh, Jesus, dude. It's a good thing I got extra bourbon in the back. Golfing was great in Vulcan. Okay. I would join Matt would show up. Oh my God. I'm gonna be the wheel on that one, the third wheel. I can be the fly on the wall listening to the conversations. Sure, come on.
Outside now.
You're going outside now.
I will listen to you, but I'm not going to sit here.
Why not?
Because I want some fresh air.
I want to sit fresh air. Okay.
Make sure you tell them about your crown and my surgery.
Yeah. All right, look at this. Peter made it. There he is. Played 72 and 76. He is slaying it. Poured the rain in Calgary. It's good. It's raining right now. That's the reason why you're seeing me this way, because it's actually darker. Yeah. It is very, very overcast right now, and it was raining pretty hard when we started. They were outstanding rounds. Nothing out here in Vulcan but the sun. Nice. Good afternoon from beautiful Lombard. Now, normally, Jack, we're getting all the crap weather that you guys get like the next day. So did you guys get rained on yesterday? Because I'm looking at my charts and I'm seeing 3 days of rain. So how you're getting beautiful, I don't know yet. Or maybe we're just going to be able to trade this one. All right. Of course, I'm waiting. Peter, those subpar rounds you're shooting, I believe one day he'll probably get there. He's getting close now. 21 rounds in already? Weren't you just barely getting out like 2 weeks ago? Wow, that is awesome. Oh, okay. All right. Maybe it was John. Maybe that's what it was. John was the one that was held in. Now I'm jealous. My sister-in-law's Winnipeg heading to the lake, supposed to be over 30. Yeah, it was John. That's why. Yep. In fact, that's excellent considering how late your season starts. No kidding. I'm just happy to have 7 in, and then none of them are here in Ohio. God, like what? I've only managed 10, though my honey-do list is finally starting to shrink. Every day. Well done, dude. Well done. Delving into the world of shafts, more power to you. I can get extremely confusing. Best to just get a low bend, a high bend, and find out what suits your swing or feel. A lot of cases, there's more to add to that, Charlie or John. You know, you've got profiles and you've got butt sizes. The tip size pretty much going to be about the same. You've got the way that they're weaved together, how many layers you're using, and some of that's all predicated on what you're trying to accomplish, right? For something that is what Krister would be using, there's probably a few extra layers. They're mismatching like this instead of like this. And the weave is going to be, since it's a 70 gram, there's going to be more on it, and the profile is going to be a little bit more rigid. And that's to help with the way that he swings. Now for Charlie, who might be an aggressive swinger, but just not that fast, and maybe like something a little bit lighter, then what he would be looking for is something with what you would call a stiffer profile. The black is right where it's at. There are several like that, but what you're going to see is something that might be butt stiff is the very beginning of it. If you're looking to hit it up high, they call it kind of a buggy whip fashion, that one where the butt section is very stiff and maybe the tip section is a little bit more flexible. And then you get your weight and your flex and it'll be close. Now, if you were to frequency it, it would come out really, really stiff. And that's the reason why you need to know profiles. There you go. And I like lower bends in my glory years. It all seems to allow me to get a tad more elevation. And that would be true. The lower the bend point, the higher the launch. And just the opposite. I hear you on that one, but I like to have a not so heavy feeling in the head weight of the shaft so balance points can affect head wheel. Too heavy. Yep. Now on that one, if you end up liking the shaft, Charlie, what you can do is just back weight it. And you don't need a terrible amount. 2 to 4 grams in those little tour locks would be something else. What do you think about the Odyssey's new lab putter? I haven't had one in hand. I will say this. For a group that prides themselves on innovation, I'm kind of disappointed in the fact that it looks so narrowly close to a lab putter. I hope it works as good as a lab putter because they can offer it at a much lower cost than, say, a regular lab putter. But that's pretty much it. Now, if you guys have seen the lab, and I don't know if Odyssey is hiding it or not, a lot of what goes into a lab putter, the lab putter it starts with the hitting surface, which is steel, and it's not real big. And then they put this aluminum cage on it or the body on it and attach it. It's got all the holes on the bottom. And that initial starting point has been bent to the lie angle that you like. And then now the last point is you got to start putting all these weights on to get it so that it swings like this. And you got to put all those weights on. Okay. And that's what helps that do that. Not only that, but when you put all those weights on the outside, it creates this incredible MOI. Now, on the one that looks like the branding iron, the DF series, you get some of that, but what takes up a lot of that weight is that big ring in the back. Okay, and they've kind of copycatted that to an extent, and if it works, cool. But now in using they got the Jailbird that's doing that in the low torque. I am not a fan. It looks like it sets close to me. However, the double wide I think is outstanding. That thing, it sets up, it putts well, it makes a good sound, the whole 9 yards. Just looks right. Because now if you were somebody that was an arm lock putter, you would love that zero torque in the mini, in the Jailbird Mini or the Jailbird. You would love it. It sets up awesome for a person that does that. My old putter was a Spider GT. It was heavy in the head. This new one I am breaking in is a counterbalance Spider 35-inch. It feels like a feather. It's a big learning curve. That's funny that you say that, and that it must be because there's, again, I'm not a big tailor-made aficionado, but if a putter's being counterbalanced, they're actually putting a weight in the back, right? It's not that they made the head lighter, it's they made the grip heavier, or they put a weight in the back like they do in these stroke labs in order for that weight to be here, not at the head. And if you don't like that, if you have problems controlling it, I would search out what's giving you that weight to be counterbalanced and just take it out. And you'd probably be right where you want to be. Well, now you're one hell of a lag putter now. I have small hands and thinking of mid-sized grips because I don't know. We'll see what he's talking about. Jim can grind down the Opus to your specs. Well, it wouldn't be the first time, but yeah, you can always. Now, the only real bad part about it is it'll come back shiny because, well, I guess I could make it satiny, but I will remove the coating, so you're going to have to pay particular attention to it. Michael Ocean, I just added 6 gram brass tip weight to a steel shaft wedge build. There's a slight rattle when I get the shaft vibrating. What causes it and how do I get rid of it? So a couple of things that we're going to go down the gambit here, Michael. Number one is if you put the 6 gram brass tip weight in and you didn't use any epoxy, it's probably the brass tip that's vibrating. So unfortunately, you probably have to take the thing apart, put a little glue on it, shove it back in there. You're good to go. Another one might be is, okay, you did use some glue and the brass tip weight was actually made for a smaller tip section, and what's happening is it's broken loose maybe, and you're gonna have to take it apart, and at this time, in order to make it fit, we'll call it snug, I would literally just use a little bit of masking tape. You don't need anything special, just some masking tape, and re-glue it back in. The third option is that maybe something while you're doing all this work has broken free. If this was a rebuild of a wedge, when OEMs make it, they dip the shaft. They'll put a lot of glue in the hosel, and the shaft goes in. They spin it around, and all that glue goes up into the shaft. And so when you drill out a little bit of area to make room for that weight, you may have loosened up some stuff that you're just not aware of, particularly if you kept the grip on, and it just stays there. And you can do that. And so the easiest way for that is pull the grip off, pound it on the ground, and watch it fall out. Unfortunately, that's how you're going to have to deal with it. Chris, I'm thinking of having mid-size grips on my clubs. I have small hands, but I do like the feel of a mid-size because this causes problems. Yes. Now, Chris, the idea here is that grips are not the cure-all, end-all of anything. They are merely catalysts for what is going on. Typically, if you put on bigger grips than your hand size would allow, meaning that when you go to grab it, you're not here, you're up in here somewhere. Not just touching to just barely touching, that's okay. But when you're out in here, that's not so much. And what that does is that will help promote you delivering the clubs a little late, and you could promote a block. Okay, that's really what it is. You can promote a block. Now, the other avenue in this too is mid-sized grips typically run a little heavy or heavier than standard grips. So the swing weight's going to change, and if you're sensitive to swing weight, you're going to notice it right away. If you're not, then it's not a big deal. Typically, I like the weight in my hands, but that's just where I am. But that's what can happen. Now, if you're just slightly open, not a worry. And when it comes right down to it, Chris, the bottom line is if you grab a hold of it and you're massively comfortable with it, that's literally all it takes. Because your comfort and your mental state when you grab it is going to override anything that any technical thing I just told you will do. What's your opinion on Pro Softform end dampening certs? Just found out I have managed to get golfer's elbow. Well, they work. I've put in several. In fact, if you go look in my library, I've got a video on how to put those things in. In fact, I've done it twice now. In order to put them in, one with a tool and one without a tool, and you can do that. Now, are they going to cure your golfer's elbow? No, but they will reduce the vibration such that it doesn't hurt it as much. There you go, and he very well may. I have a 4-degree T-grind Volkey, my go-to 4-degree. Woo! Wow. Nope, you just hit the you just hit the low bounce evolution, and that would be in that C grind area. And if you're kind of fancy with it, you might like it. Glenn Burr. I can't seem to get my steel shafted Cobra baffler hybrids out of the bag. There's nothing wrong with that. I have a 23 and 26 replacing my 4 and 5 iron. Okay. I'm actually looking for a 29 to replace the 6, 78 mile an hour 6 iron. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. The reason why you probably are liking the bafflers is because of those rails. That's what their bafflers are known for, right? They got those 2 rails that are on the bottom to keep you out of the junk. And if it keeps you out of the junk and allows you to get through it, you're there, right? You absolutely are there. I think that's a great thing. If you're looking at something because the bafflers have been, the DWS has been around for a while. Now this is going way back, and I'm going way, way back. Is La Jolla made one that looked like it had surfboard rails on the fins on the bottom, and that was kind of in line with the baffler. I would not recommend them, but they are there if you want something extreme. Another one actually is Callaway made it's called the Epic, and it was I think it might have been either the Epic or the Epic Flash, and they started incorporating those rails into the design as well, albeit not nearly as much as what would have been in a hybrid, but they started instituting rails into theirs, but not as much. Okay, Wayne wants to know, my question is, are 1 degree flat I was fitted for, have an adjustable driver. Should I start for the right lie angle? I've read dialing to an upright helps with a slice. It does. The upright lie angle, the reason why, okay, let's go back. In most clubs, as far as drivers go, they never will say up or down. Well, I won't say never, because as soon as I do, somebody will say that. There's one out there. What you normally get is you get draw or neutral, and then you get degrees. Okay. Now, depending, again, it all depends on the manufacturer. The ones like, say, Pings or TaylorMades, where you put them in and you adjust the shaft to get to your setting. Okay. So if you increase the loft, the face shuts, and it'll also go kind of up. If you take it down, it will open and flatten. That's kind of how that works. So now if you have some that are cogs and the shaft stays in line, i.e. the Callaways, you're pretty much golden. You can maybe increase the loft and watch it close a little bit, because they too have a standard / neutral, we'll call it that, the S and the N, which keeps you in line. Everything's standard this way, that way. Now they do have, I will say, they used to have colored cogs. They had greens and they had reds, and the green or adapters, and the green adapter would allow you to just naturally put in, it would be naturally a degree or 2 flat. I don't know if that still exists, but that adapter fit the newer models, not the older ones, so it could do that way here as well. So I wouldn't necessarily worry about so much as the angle as the lie angle as I would the face angle when it comes to a driver. Try one of the clubs to see how you like them, and it affects the club in that way. That's always another way to go. There's talking to Glenn. I have one in my set of irons. They dampen the vibration. There you go. Golf bag. I need a new golf bag deciding between the C130, the Ping Pioneer, the Titleist 15. I do like Vessel, but $680 for a bag has me saying no. Yeah, Vessels are neat. They got a real sleek kind of look to them, don't they? And they're neat, but the price tag kind of will put people off. Again, I am a Sun Mountain freak, and that's what's in this bag right here. I'm going to turn this off real quick. That's what that guy is right there. And I got another one sitting over there, and that's what that one is right there. And right now, what they've done is they've taken the C-130 name and they got one that put legs on. They got one that don't have legs. They got one that has less than 14 dividers. So you got to be very, very careful about what you buy to make sure it's there. What I do like about this, a couple of things. Number one is the pocket for the rangefinder has the magnetic flap. Not sure about the other ones. And I do believe, actually, in the day, Sun Mountain was actually contracted to make Titleists, so I'm not sure where that's going to go. Anyway, I like the flap right there, and I like the pass-through underneath so that when you put on your golf cart that you don't squish any of the pockets that you might want to get into. It comes through and it goes through, and you're just grabbing the bag. The other part is the 14 dividers go all the way down to the bottom, unlike some, so that it reduces bag wear a little bit because they're not sliding around like this underneath. And the last bit is there's pockets for days, absolute pockets for days. Hey, look at that. I have a C-130 and like it. He's got the stand bag. Yep. Shepherd's Hollow is a nice course. That's so C-Tan says. And he's saying hello. Charles, yeah, my current bag is a 130. It's 5 years old with over 600 rounds. So it's time. 600 rounds. Wow. You are the man. Nothing getting by you. It's the best man I wish I ever could get to stand. Yes. BC's there. How you doing from upstate? Rain washed out Monday league, so join in the fun. Well, thanks for joining us, man. Glad you made it. I have yet to find a cart bag that, when it's fully loaded, doesn't tip over. It's so frustrating. And again, you know what? Particularly if you got a truckload of golf balls, mine falls over, and I carry about between 18 and 2 dozen golf balls. I don't know why. That's typically from when I go on golf trips. A couple packages of tees in the front, plus the other stuff, and then I carry a handful of gloves, a first aid kit, and then you get the cover. Trying to think of anything else. Oh, and some sunscreen. And that's all that's in there. And the funny part is it doesn't fall forward. Mine falls backwards. Yes, it does. And I like those. They used to have the one that was the next size down that I had. I forget what the name of it was, several generations ago. And it had the 14 dividers and the legs, particularly when I was going to the range quite a bit. Joe Palace, what do you say, man? Hello from sunny Arizona. What would be a good replacement for a Speeder 474 Evolution regular? Woo! Which is the Ventus replacement? Or is it the other way around? Ventus replaced the Speeder. 474. Wow. The Evolution, that was a pretty start regular shaft. You're in we'll go for a couple. So from a golf design, graphite design, in that same area, they have one, I believe it's an SC now. I would look at the SC model. I would look at that one in the same weight and flex. From an Acra point of view, those would probably be in the GX red without getting too crazy expensive. If I was looking if you want to go a little exotic, I would go into the TZ line. But as far as being able to touch, Fuji, if you're getting a Ventus, they've got red, blue, and black. And Speeders have normally had the more stout profile, so the black in the Ventus was probably the better one. I would go with that if I was getting a Ventus out of it. That's probably some pretty good choices. McFly. All right. McFly. Are forged irons more susceptible to loft and lie changes since they're softer metal? How often should they be checked? The answer to the first part is yes. Yes, they are, because they are softer metals, and they tend to come out of a line when you play a lot of golf. So as I use an example is, if you're a person that plays about, let's say on the average of 3 rounds a week, and like a league, go and practice, and then a weekend game or something along that lines, and you do that religiously, and you have a fairly long golfing season, we'll say starting in the April and it closes sometime in November, chances are you're going to need them checked at the end of the year or prior to getting started in the next year. If you're doing the same thing with a cast club, probably 2 to 3 years down the road before I'd have them looked at. Now, if you're playing once a week, like say average golfer stuff, you're going out and playing once a week with the buddies, you could probably get away with maybe 2 years, maybe 3, depending on how you play. If you're the guy that you have that nervous flick when you're waiting and you're bouncing the club off the ground all the time when you're waiting, then probably 2 years. If you're not, then maybe even 3. All righty, here's a tip. When playing in the wind, use the Apple Watch for wind speed, direction, and compass. It's about 1/2 a club for 5 mile an hour. You're dead on, bud. Well done. Robin catching up. Robin, he misunderstood the question. I want to know what he did with his old sets. Anyway, got to go anyway. For the most part, I got some sitting over here, and we were just talking about getting rid of a few. So if you're interested, let me know. Nope, there it is. She'll make a deal with you, Pete. I'm sure she will. And I may or may not get a phone call. We'll see. There's Dan We Say. Sorry I'm late. Just emailed you about McGolf Town ball marker. Nicely done. And Robin's answering already. Working the lead tape. They're called bossing sticks made out of wood. I used them lots in my apprenticeship. Found the kids' old popsicle sticks work well too. Yep. I just like the ones that got tools on the end. They're just a little bit heavier, and they allowed me to move it around a little bit better. Swing it, you are bombing the ball, my friend, he says. No doubt. Max Wire, there's a new one. Welcome, buddy. And he's in Wisconsin, or should I say Wisconsin. And weather's great here. Good. My sister lives up there. She's near Kenosha, and so I get to hear her weather reports. So you got about a month before it turns cold, I guess. Glad to see you in here, man. If you got questions, let us know. Max Wired, yep. Yes, not always on the fairway. That's the trick of it, right? How much club speed can average longer give me? 1/2 of an inch is probably worth maybe 1 mile an hour. And with the driver, probably 2.5 to 4 yards, depending on how well you hit it. 2.5 is probably the standard. 4 for the maxed out. That's in a driver. Oh, look at that. He did have one round where he shot below his age 79 and shot a 68. It didn't last too long. Well, you're getting out there. You're shooting below that with all those other scores. Oh, I was going to say 78. You're doing well for doing that for 70. Okay, well, you're getting close. No doubt, I'd agree. I actually cut my driver shaft down a full inch to 44. I haven't noticed any drop off in swing speed. Maybe helped my sequencing. For certain, as a whole, unless you're extraordinarily tall, a regular length golf club is probably hindering you. Did a bit of an experiment and turned out it matched what was on the tour. 44.5, 44 3/4 is basically the way to go. There we go. I like playing length 44.5, 45 in the driver. Look at him, as they just said the other stuff. 43, I lose about 78 miles per hour. But, well, we're talking 2 to 3, and I said, yeah, that's about right. Hello, McFly. I think we missed you. Yep. True would be finding the center of the face more, and that influences distance as well. As a matter of fact, that is a better thing. I would much rather have a high smash factor than a high swing speed. It'd be great if I had both, but when we fit, I really concentrate on finding the middle of the club because lots more good comes from hitting in the middle, regardless of your swing speed. Yep, there's a high five. I had my Q5 at 44.5. Best thing I ever did. Lost no yardage, but very straight, 90% of the fairways. That's fine in the middle of the face, sir. 100%. There you go. McFly's got his at 44. Had to swap to the stock 1.5 gram weight 8 to bring the swing weight back up. Yep. Zach, another one. New ones. Have you ever fit someone that had spinal fusion, and did they go with lighter shafts? I have fit many people that have had spinal fusions, and not your whole entire back, but just in certain areas. Some back here, some in the middle, and some in the lower back. In fact, I've fit folks that have had rods. The actual, when they put the rods, and it's a thing. And did we go with lighter shafts? It depended on how well the person could turn, Zach. If you could make a decent turn, not so much. But what happened was that your posture changed, and we had to look at different lengths and different lie angles to take up for that change. Sometimes they were longer, right? Make the club longer because you were standing a little taller at address. Now, in some cases where flexibility or rotation ability was really hampered, then yes, we did some lighter stuff. I think she's talking to somebody that was looking for the other stuff. Anyway, anyone else here use Vice Air golf balls? I love them. No and no, but not to say they're not bad. Glenn Burr, Baffler message. Didn't Tour Edge have some hybrids that were similar rails? Yes, they're the other ones. That they did. You're correct. Tour Edge had some, and they did have the rails very much like the Baffler, just not as pronounced. Peter's got a Sun Mountain. Nice. Multi-purpose. That was the one. That's the one I liked. Yeah, I bought 4 C30s, and I love them. I shop around all the other bags and keep coming back. It's just a really nice, well put together bag. Correct. I agree with you, Robin, because you were always right. Oh, stop it. Stop it. C-Tan saying night to everybody. You must be out there on the a little bit further east. No problem. Zach says, thank you. I'm only 39, but have spinal fusion in the lower back. Same surgery Tiger had, but trying to get back to it slowly. Yeah, and that's what you look at, Zach, is number one is turn as much as you possibly can is that you're comfortable with without getting hurt, right? That's number one. Because, golf's a game. Life is way far more important. But you take what the surgery gave you, as long as the doctor gave you permission, and see where you can go. You might find you're a little more handsy than you were before. You might find that you're pulling yourself a little bit more, and if you're doing that, lighter sometimes can control it. But if you're somebody that might be wanting it here, sometimes heavier can help you guide. But you got to look at that. And now that you've done something, that's a major medical thing, right? And I would certainly search out a fitter and go get fit just so to make sure, because thinking that it might be right, and then you spend all that money and you may not be. Spend a little bit of time and effort and go through the process and see which one works best. And you save time, effort, and your wallet when you go and do that. Got to run, folks. So do we. Be safe. Cheers. So how far did we get? Where are we at? 7:04, hour and a half, man. We did it. So we made it all the way to the end. So guys, glad you stuck around. I'm glad that you stayed with me on my whiskey adventure. Glad we could talk new golf gear. We had some new folks show up. Hopefully they all come back. Watch for again, I'm going to say watch for a video now that my swing has come back. And as always, guys, let's see your scores go low.